What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the F1 2018 Ferrari career mode. Back today for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. Do make sure to leave a like if you are. And you know what, let's try and hit 40 likes on this one. So if you see it on less than 40, make sure to drop a like. Before we get out on track, you can see we've had some new parts come through. Obviously we had one fail on us last time in China, but we've got that front wing gurney flap back on, well not back on, actually on the car in the first place. And we've also got a bit of weight reduction in the chassis compartment. So now when we take a look at the whole research and development tree, you can see that we've got one upgrade in each area: durability, chassis, aero and powertrain. And then if you look at the vehicle performance comparison, we are out on top. And that is because Ferrari are the only one of the top three teams to bring an upgrade so far this season. So I'd imagine Mercedes and Red Bull probably saving something big for the start of the main European season in Spain next time out. Alfa Romeo, Sauber also have an upgrade for this race, as do Force India. But apart from that, nobody else has one at all. So in terms of upgrades, we're going to spend some more resource points on another powertrain upgrade, which should be with us by Monaco, and that is to do with the spark plugs. So hopefully that can bring us another performance gain to get us even closer to Mercedes on power. Obviously, last time out in China, we saw how close we'd actually got to them.
Welcome to qualifying in the Republic of Azerbaijan. The teams are making their last-minute adjustments before the lights go green, and the fight for pole position can get underway.
Here we go then, the final lap in Q3. We've got 40 seconds remaining in the session, so this is going to be our final lap, and we are currently sat in third position, behind Valtteri Bottas, and I'm not actually sure who was sat in first at this point, but regardless of that, we're making our way to the start of the lap, putting a lot of strain on the engine already, as we brake now into the first corner, clipping that inside apex, and running it out wide before going into the second 90-degree left-hander, braking quite late into this one. You can carry quite a lot of speed through there, but on exit it's very difficult to get traction, as we showed there. And as we head now towards turn 3, the third 90-degree left-hander on the lap so far. We, again, take a nice bit of speed through there, not too much, because we don't get out onto the curbs. And of course, with it being a street circuit, you can't really take that gamble of running it over the curbs, or else you could end up in the wall. But anyway, at the end of the first sector, we're 2.5 tenths up on our previous best time, and just over a tenth of a second off pole position so far. As we run now down into turn 7, quite a difficult turn, because once again you can't carry too much speed through there, or else you will run out wide. And now through the famous turn 8 before getting it straightened up, running a little bit wide through there, as now we unleash it onto this sort of curved straight. I know that sort of defeats the point of it being a straight, but it's a flat-out section. I think that's the best word to describe it, or the best phrase to describe it, for braking into here. Very vigorous curb there, so you've got to be careful not to take too much of it. So fortunately we get away with it, and we are just nearly 4 tenths up, but we run wide out of there, and that's probably cost us pole position. And now, wow, we weren't that far off pole, but that has just ruined our lap. We've probably lost about 2 or 3 tenths through there. And I think we're probably going to run out of ERS before the end of the lap as well. It's incredible how much it drains over the course of the lap. And yes, we are completely out of ERS. So no deployment whatsoever. And we come across the line. We've gone quicker than before, but it's still only enough for P3 on the grid. So not quite making it on to the front row. So getting on to the starting grid then for the race. You can see it was our teammate, in fact, who put it on pole position ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Less than half a tenth between them. And then, yeah, only a tenth off pole we were. So that last corner very much costing us. Hulkenberg up in P6 ahead of Verstappen. That is very interesting. And Leclerc as well getting it into the top 10. So a little bit of a mixed up grid. Stroll in 15th. So right at the back of the grid is Stoffel van Dorn.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll.
Here we go then for the 2018 Azerbaijan Grand Prix in this career mode. You can see that we're sat just a few points behind our teammate Sebastian Vettel. A victory today would take us to the top of the drivers' standings, but that would require us to overtake our teammate and Valtteri Bottas, so it's not going to be easy by any means. Daniel Ricciardo's had an impressive start to the season, as has Fernando Alonso, so will be interesting to see what ends up happening today as we form on the grid now, ready to go to the 5 red lights. It's a short run down to turn 1, but let's see what we can do. And we are lights out and away we go here in Azerbaijan. It's a brilliant start from Ricciardo in 4th. And it looks as if he's going to get past us. We break a little bit too late as we try and outdo Ricciardo. But I just don't think it's going to work as Hamilton's got past Hülkenberg. And he's tried to get past us. But no, he's spun and he's out of the race. He is a tyre down. And there is a safety car that has been deployed. Well, controversy at the start of this Grand Prix. You can see a replay there. And, well, you take a look at Hamilton. He tries to stick it down the inside. And if you look at the slow motion, you can see he speeds up under braking. So that's what's done for him. Well, let me know, guys, down in the comments what you think of it. But maybe I could have given him more room, but he definitely puts his foot on the accelerator in the braking zone to stick his nose down the inside. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. But, well, Lewis Hamilton's out of the Grand Prix. And whilst the safety car is out, Grosjean and Perez have decided to come into the pit lane, which is quite interesting. Now, they could prove quite difficult to get past later on in the Grand Prix, especially if they're going to the end of the race. Yeah, that could be quite interesting to see whether they get in my way, Vettel's way, Bottas's way. You know, all those drivers could end up being quite a thorn in our sides later on in the race. But under the safety car, it is obviously Vettel still leading. No change in the top 2, but 3rd place now is Daniel Ricciardo after he got past us. And interestingly enough, we didn't get a penalty for the Hamilton incident. So the game obviously thinking that it wasn't our fault. And Hamilton maybe a little bit ambitious down into turn 2. But yeah, the safety car period should mean that we're okay for fuel to the end. Meaning that we should hopefully be able to take advantage of a good straight line speed, because we'll be able to put it in rich mix. And we've also got a nice bit of ERS deployment left for these final 10 laps. So it's basically turned into a bit of a sprint to the end, as we now are ready to go green flag racing once again. And there we go. So the racing has been resumed, and it looks as if we've got a nice run on Daniel Ricciardo into turn 1 at the start of lap 4, and we outbrake him, and we've gone down his inside. A little bit of a front left lockup for us, which won't do the tyres any good, but of course we've saved a nice bit of tyre wear under those 3 laps on the safety car. But anyway, end of lap 4, and interestingly enough, Valtteri Bottas, who's barely done 1 racing lap on those tyres, has decided to come in and switch the Ultra Softs for a set of Super Softs to go to the end of the race. So yeah, he'll be doing the final 9 laps on the same set of tyres, as will a lot of the field. It looked quite busy in the pit lane, but no pitting for Sebastian Vettel, nor for myself. So yeah, our plan is to just try and run as long as we can on this set of tyres, and really take advantage of the lower tyre wear at the end of this Grand Prix. So at the start of lap 6, end of lap 5, our teammate Vettel has decided to come into the pit lane. So we're running longer than both of the top 2 in the Grand Prix, and Daniel Ricciardo is also in for his one and only stop of the afternoon. Be interesting to see where Vettel comes out in comparison to Bottas. You can see there Bottas just coming around the first corner, and I think he may have jumped our teammate. And yes, Mercedes have outdone Ferrari there, even though Bottas has been stuck in a little bit of traffic there behind Sergei Sorokin, I think. He's still managed to jump Vettel in the pit phase, which is very, very interesting. But now as we come to the end of lap 6, 1 lap later, we decided it's time for us to switch those Ultras for super soft tyres. And coming into this very interesting pit entry, trying to scrub as much speed off as possible before going into the pit lane. We don't want any sort of penalties. But there you can see on the top left, it is Sergio Perez who has taken the lead of this race. So sure enough, him and Grosjean have got a little bit of a lead ahead of Valtteri Bottas and my teammate Sebastian Vettel, who both go past there. And it looked there as if Vettel was ahead of Bottas. So we'll take a look to see what happened there in just a second. But we emerge in P7, and I think everyone in front of us has made their stops. So we're going to have to get past Sorokin, Perez and also Gasly, I believe, and Roman Grosjean. So quite a lot of cars that have elected to stop early on in this race. But as we take a look at a replay now of what happened before we pitted, it was Bottas and Vettel getting past Sergei Sirotkin, and that is where Vettel took advantage of the Mercedes man. So he just slipped down the inside into turn 1 when they were both overtaking the Williams car, and it was a good bit of tactics there from Sebastian, and he just about manages to weather the attack from Bottas on the exit of turn 2, because you can see now going down into turn 3, but Bottas has the outside line, so it was always going to be very difficult for him to get past. But Vettel locked up a little bit, but fortunately for him, that didn't hinder him whatsoever. And now it is time for him to pursue the next car, which was Pierre Gasly in front of him. So Gasly on the softer compound of tyres, of course, having stopped on lap 1, they should be able to go to the end of the Grand Prix. And Vettel and Bottas try and overtake him and do successfully manage to do so. But Bottas has done exactly what Vettel did to him the lap before. And, well, Bottas is back ahead once again. So real ding-dong battle between those two, which I'm sure will carry on all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. But, yeah, as they've now got past Gasly, it is our time to get past Sergei Sirotkin. So we're probably a couple of laps behind them in terms of overtaking these out-of-position cars, I think it's fair to say. They wouldn't normally be here on pace, but they are here on merit, so we're going to have to make an overtake on Sirotkin in the next 5 laps if we're even to get P6 in this Grand Prix. So looking like an inspired decision to pit under the safety car, but yeah, I personally wasn't sure whether those tyres would be able to go to the end. I guess we'll find out in the next few laps whether they will be able to. But now you can just see how slow that Williams is in comparison to the Ferrari. Unfortunately, we've caught him in such an awkward place on the track. As we, well, let's just say there's no chance of us overtaking him into turn 8 or through this section whatsoever. Hopefully we can get good drive off this corner here, turn 12 I believe it is. And yeah, now it's just trying to get past him because we've got Max Verstappen right on our tail. So we don't want him to get past whatsoever. And now as we try and get down the inside of Sirotkin, I don't think that is going to work. So we're just going to have to sit behind him for the meantime. And interestingly enough, we've managed to get ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in the pit stops. I've only just noticed that. Ricciardo very much disappearing off the radar, so not completely sure what happened to him. But whatever it was, he's not having a good race anymore, because I believe he is also out of the point-scoring positions. Ourselves, however, we are moving up the point-scoring positions, easily getting past Sirotkin in a straight line. That's a Williams car with a hell of a lot of drag, as is the case in the real 2018 season. But Verstappen manages to get past him as well. Fortunately, he didn't get past us, like the Bottas and Vettel incident earlier on in the race. And we've got the final 4 laps to try and attack Pierre Gasly and then the 2 guys who we were fighting earlier on in the race, Valtteri Bottas and Sebastian Vettel. So Gasly, of course, with that Honda engine, very much not a power-based engine. So we should be able to do him in a straight line if real life is anything to go by. And you can just see how much we're closing in on Pierre Gasly. As Sebastian Vettel sets the fastest lap of the race, we managed to get past Gasly and set our own fastest lap of the race, a 1:42.1, which is pretty good. Considering we're on, obviously, the super soft tyres, so not on the softest compound. And they are a few laps old now as well. But anyway, we go back to the battle up at the front between, we got Roman Grosjean and Sebastian Vettel. So Vettel made a little bit of contact with him there by the looks of it. So we've got just 2 laps left in this Grand Prix. But the Ferrari man has managed to get past Grosjean, and he's actually left Bottas for dust in the background. So yeah, pretty interesting that to see that that Vettel has got back past Bottas and managed to set a bit of a gap to him as well. So really showing the pace of this Ferrari car. Unfortunately, we've not quite managed to do the same. But going back to the battle at the front now, you can see on lap 13, coming towards the final corner of the race, it is Sergio Perez who is leading from Sebastian Vettel, as Bottas then, it looks as if he may get past Roman Grosjean, but it looks as if Sergio Perez is going to hold out from the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Sergio Perez makes it 4 winners in 4 races. Bottas just makes it onto the podium at the last. Pretty similar to what he did to Lance Stroll last year in real life. And we come home to take P5. Very disappointing for us. in what could have been so much better. But yeah, our most disappointing race of the season so far. The first time we've not been on the podium, and the first time that this man has been on the podium this season. He is the master around Baku, Sergio Perez, and this time he is on the top step of the podium. In real life, he got on the podium in 2016. Probably should have been there in 2017 had it not been for a crash with Ocon. And of course, in a real-life Grand Prix, made it on in 2018. But this time, he has won it in our career mode. Fantastic stuff from the Force India guys. And it really is great to see that their strategy paid off. So fair play to them. And he's taken points off my teammate Sebastian Vettel, which isn't an altogether terrible thing, given our championship position at the moment. But there you can see the full race results. Carlos Sainz in P6 as well managed to get ahead of Max Verstappen on the last lap of the race. So that is pretty bizarre. Very good race from him. Obviously, DNF for Lewis Hamilton and a poor race for Ricciardo, all the way down in 16th. So he must have run into issues in the pit stops. Not quite sure what happened there, but as we take a look at the driver's standings, we're 14 points behind Sebastian Vettel and quite a long way ahead of Bottas. So it's very much developing into a two-horse race very early on in this season. We're already 64 points ahead of Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. So looking pretty ominous already for Ferrari. But guys, if you've enjoyed this race, do make sure to leave a like, leave a comment as well. And I'll catch you guys in the next video for the Spanish Grand Prix. Hope you can join me then, and I'll see you guys then. Take care. Bye-bye.